Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, we have a shot fired and heard across the world. Coinbase is beginning its initial steps to leave the United States. It's planning to launch an offshore exchange in the coming weeks. Coinbase is getting a Bermuda license. In addition, Kraken is making its way over to Ireland. Crypto exchange Kraken has secured a key registration with the Irish government, allowing it to operate across the EU. And even CZ Binance weighed in and stated the European Parliament voted for MiCA to be implemented. This means one of the world's largest markets is introducing tailored regulations for crypto to protect users and support innovation. The fine details will matter, but overall we think this is a pragmatic solution to the challenges we collectively face. There are now clear rules of the game for crypto exchanges to operate in the EU. We're ready to make adjustments to our business over the next 12 to 18 months to be in a position of full compliance. And this, in my opinion, was a direct shot at the United States. CZ has been targeted for his role in the collapse of FTX, which was clearly a scam exchange. Clearly, Sam Bankman-Fried was running a racket. And yet the US government and their collusion is trying to go after him harder than they're going after SBF. It's very interesting to see how that works out. But what's most interesting is that after the grilling Gary Gensler got, we have different nations rolling out their crypto regulations almost like a scripted red carpet rollout. Hey, crypto companies, look at how dysfunctional the United States is. Come over here. We'll give you some rules to play with so we can steal their businesses and their innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way to sugarcoat this. Ripple is the only crypto company that could save the crypto industry in the United States right now. This lawsuit going in a positive direction for Ripple and XRP is the only thing that can save the industry. And I can't stress that enough. Gary Gensler, the little weasel he is, the weakling he is, has caused so much damage and so much uncertainty in the industry that we're about to lose to Europe, to Hong Kong, to Russia, to Japan, to Singapore, to Dubai, to Switzerland, Africa, South America. The whole rest of the planet is going to take place in the fourth industrial revolution. And we're going to get left behind because of Gary? Gary Gensler looks like a turtle without a shell. And we're going to allow Gary Gensler to prevent us from making mass wealth as a country? Unbelievable. These incumbents, they will not win because the people won't stand for it. And ladies and gentlemen, the truth always wins. Here, SEC Chair Gary Gensler, at his most recent testimony, blamed crypto for Signature Bank's bank failure. But the New York Department of Financial Services refuted that in front of the same committee, saying this is not the case, that the failure of Signature Bank was related to crypto. Caught red-handed, Gary. We all know you're a liar.
If I could just note something about you. You mentioned your hearing about the recent events in the markets, and I would note there were 3 banks that failed in those handful of days, those 4 or 5 days. And 2 of those banks, the first and the third that failed, Silvergate and Signature, were engaged in the crypto business. I mean, some would say they were crypto banks. So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto narrative as well.
It is a misnomer that the failure of Signature Bank was related to crypto. What we saw with Signature Bank is that it had a new-fashioned bank run, and the outflow of deposits were from a broad depositor base, including wholesale food vendors, fiduciaries, trust accounts, law firms, And in fact, the outflow of crypto deposits were in exact proportion to their representation in the depositor base overall. And in fact, some of those deposit outflows were actually pre-planned. So it's, of course, unfortunate that there was a run on the bank at Signature prompted by what we saw with SVB, but it is not the case that the failure of Signature was related to crypto.
It's genuinely amazing to see how at every single opportunity that these incumbents and these regulators can get that are anti-crypto to try and paint crypto in a positive light, they take it even if it's untrue. But here we have Danelle Dixon, head of the Stellar Foundation, stating we learned 3 things from the Financial Committee hearing on stablecoins. Everyone wants clarity and agrees legislation is needed. Everyone also wants to protect the strength and use of the US dollar on the internet, and it's important for US-backed stablecoins to be regulated here. Consumer protection is a non-negotiable requirement, and that means clear definitions are necessary so that users don't go outside the US to find a US-backed stablecoin. Let's add a 4th and get it done right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the largest stablecoin on the planet is Tether, which I believe to be largely non-compliant. But then Gary Gensler wants to try and blame Circle for Silicon Valley Bank's demise. He's trying to blame crypto for legacy banking systems failing. Unbelievable. We need regulation, and all the crypto industry has been acting for is for rules. Not even for easy rules, but just rules in general. And that's the most frustrating part about this.
One of the most powerful examples is a very recent one, which is our partnership with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR. Circle, together with Stellar and MoneyGram, as I shared in my written testimony, helped design a sort of digital cash assistance program for Ukrainian refugees. This program worked in a manner that no other alternative payment system could have supported, which is that if you think of the way we as a country move foreign aid today or disaster assistance, it's pallets of physical cash, which are literal honeypots for corruption, bribery, and fraud. The idea that you have device-centric money that is corruption-resistant, near instant, and auditable is a very powerful feature, and the stablecoin, a dollar-denominated stablecoin, in this case USDC, is the payload that supports that innovation.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get one thing clear. Something I want every single one of you to be aware of is that Stellar has been making power moves. Their partnership with MoneyGram, which they replaced XRP with, by the way, has been spectacular. They've been killing it. And despite the fact that it's frustrating as an XRP holder to see XRP being taken out of that MoneyGram partnership due to this stupid SEC case, I'm also a Stellar holder, and I think it will be a sleeping giant this next cycle. XRP and Stellar tend to move in price together, and I think owning both will be a powerful tag team into generational wealth building. Keep in mind what he talked about with Ukraine, their stablecoin, and their partnership with Circle. Can't stress that enough. Not only is stablecoin regulation and crypto regulation going to be essential, but the accelerated rollout of a central bank digital currency will be essential for XRP adoption to eventually take place, in my opinion, and CBDCs, like Patrick Bet-David has mentioned, are accelerating and launching in the world stage.
Everybody's talking about CBDC, central bank digital currency. Some are saying it's a great idea.
My question is, in that similar vein, what would make a well-designed CBDC system that helps overcome some of these existing issues that we have seen with banks and with just the delivery of stimulus checks?
Some are saying it's a horrible idea.
Are you interested in giving these economic central planners more power over our economy, more power over your daily life and your economic activity? And I answer that question HE double hockey sticks. No.
Who's right? All right, so if you get value from this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. What is CBDC? The easiest way to explain it is, think about Bitcoin, right? It's a decentralized currency that's used, but it's decentralized. No one's regulating it. No one knows who owns it. Now imagine if a Bitcoin currency is created, but it's controlled and regulated by the government. That's CBDC. So how much momentum are they creating with this whole concept of CBDC? Who's for it, who's against it? According to AtlanticCouncil.org, in May 2020, only 35 countries were considering a CBDC. Today, 114 countries are exploring CBDC, equal to 95% of the global GDP.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's very important. What's very important is how many countries and what percentage of global GDP is exploring the use of a central bank digital currency. The inevitability would be that every country on the planet will adopt a CBDC and digital currency style system. But what's so shocking to me is how politicized CBDCs are becoming. The left is looking like they're taking the stance that they want CBDCs, and the right is taking the stance that they oppose it. Everything in America has become so politicized, so polarized, that of course this issue was going to be a mainstay. And I have a critical warning for all of you. CBDCs are going to be the last stand for the United States. And before I get into what I want to mention, I want you guys to see this clip to show you just how close we are to it becoming a reality.
Several states are now trying to centralize currency with a so-called central bank digital currency, which is, by the way, not currency at all. It's software. But they're going to do it for your own good. Obviously, this is a tool of total social control. If they control your money, if they can zero out your bank account with a keystroke, then you have no autonomy. They control you. Well, in the state of South Dakota, legislators just passed a bill that would have changed the definition of money to exclude cryptocurrency, and that would put the state on a path to centralized digital currency.
I became aware of this bill. It wasn't introduced until almost halfway through our legislative session. We started reading through this bill that was over 110 pages long. It was sold as an update to the guidelines of the Universal Commercial Code, backed by all of our financial institutions, our banks. As we started reading through it, we saw the section of the bill that changed the definition of currency. And essentially what it did was pave the way for a government-led CBDC, and it also banned any other form of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or digital currency that existed. So
now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I'd have that much of a problem with central bank digital currencies if I didn't know that they were going to be used to enslave humanity. Let's be real about CBDCs, actually. They will improve the speed of the payment system. They will improve the speed of the entire financial system. Money, I think, will be more convenient. These are all very positive things. However, they'll also go into your carbon allowance. You also will probably have to eat a very limited diet of meat. You won't be allowed to eat certain things, use certain methods of transportations. Your money will probably expire. If you have any fees or penalties you need to pay, it'll automatically be deducted out of your account without your input. These are all genuinely negative things. And you can see the initial groundwork being made in the major left-wing cities in the United States right now, as they're letting us know that their agenda is very important, and CBDCs will be the tool they use to make sure that we comply with it.
1 in every 5 metric tons of carbon dioxide our city emits comes from food. But all food is not created equal. The vast majority of food that is contributing to our emission crises lies in meat and dairy products. We already know that a plant-powered diet is better for your physical and mental health, and I am living proof of that. But the reality is that thanks to this new inventory, we're finding out it is better for the planet.
And you see, guys, I'm not speaking out of left field here when I say the things I say. Everything is backed by their quotes, their agenda, their documents, what they've done since the health crisis of 2020. Everything has been an excuse to roll out their massive control grid. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a lukewarm feeling to be an XRP investor because we know and are very well aware that they're building a system of control that most of us disagree with, but we're invested in because we know it's inevitable. The approach I'm going to take in order to maximize both my wealth and freedom is to have 1 foot in the system and 1 foot out. My 1 foot out would be residing within a state or country that does not mandate central bank digital currencies and these horrendous agendas. And I think that very well may be the only way we can counteract this future technology. There will come a time where there will be nowhere left to run. But until then, this is the strategy I'm taking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to cap off this video for today, I'm going to play you the last clip that I'm going to show from the Financial Services Committee from the other day, as it's extremely important. Austin Campbell is warning that Gary Gensler's policy and their regulation by enforcement approach harms national security. The crypto and blockchain revolution is so important, and if the US lets it go overseas like they're letting it go, it will cripple us as a nation. It doesn't make logical sense to treat innovation this way unless it's being done on purpose to harm the United States, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. See, ladies and gentlemen, we're being warned by Coinbase, by Kraken, by Binance, and even Ripple in the past had said they might have to move overseas if this continues. We're being warned by the good actors and innovators in crypto that the US will either need to get their shit together or it's fuck off. But I think all of us can agree. There is one saying that we can all get behind, and that's fuck the SEC and all the harm that they've caused. Fuck Gary for his corruption. And I think the only good that has come from all of this nonsense is that the crypto industry is finally beginning to work together. Let's see if it continues. But in the next couple weeks, like I have been saying on this channel, I do think an uptrend as far as Bitcoin and other cryptos like XRP will be coming. It'll be a nice time to enjoy some profit-taking opportunities. And I hope every single one of you takes advantage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now, I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
In the current environment, we are failing at making this happen as a country. Our regulation is currently chaos for stablecoins. If I am an issuer and I want to create a stablecoin, I technically don't know if I'm going to be answering to a state regulator, a federal banking regulator, the SEC, the CFTC, and it puts you in the same position as if you were out with friends and you were going to play, some sports game and somebody tells you, well, we may enforce the rules of baseball or football or basketball, and we're not going to tell you which in advance, and maybe some of them will all apply at the same time. It's unworkable. And what this means, and it pains me to say this as an American, is that things are moving offshore. I can say this with certainty because I advise my clients right now to do exactly that. There are other regimes with significantly more regulatory clarity than what we have provided here, where if you are a good actor who wants to comply with the law, who wants to do the right thing, you want to go there because you know you can do it with certainty. And this, it's bad for jobs. It's bad for the strength of the dollar. It's bad for our status as a reserve currency. It's particularly bad for national security. as blockchains have a significant degree of transparency that's not present in markets like actual cash markets, right? When somebody transacts on a blockchain, it's public. We may not always know right now who transacted, but you know the amount, the time, the wallets they traded with, what they sent back and forth. And with the richness of data, it's just a matter of time until you can identify the wallets. This is a huge data analysis tool to enforce our rules on the financial system that we are potentially giving away. Right now, over the past year, the biggest winner has been Tether. They are offshore. They don't work well with us. They facilitate some activity they probably shouldn't, but the chaos is leading that stablecoin to grow while others shrink. The other thing that's happening is other countries are moving into this space. Just this morning before the hearing, I saw news that Russia is exploring legislation to formalize their ability to transact in crypto. If we don't take the field, others will do so before us, and they may not be doing it in ways that we like.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's Cbdc effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's High-Level Advisory Board on FinTech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.